Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.
Welcome to the podcast. This is your host, Seth Greene. Today, I've got the good fortune to be interviewing my friend, Dr. Robert McDermott, founder and chief marketing officer at Condition Specific New Patient Marketing Solutions. Doc, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, Seth. Good to see you.
Let's go back in time a little bit. How did you get started?
Like so many of us, it all started with Dan Kennedy. Actually, it was a product that I got from Dan and Ben Altadonna, fellow chiropractor. This was back in, 1998. And it was all about, I'm a chiropractor. And at the time I was practicing and struggling because I was using all the, techniques that I was told, spinal screenings at the mall, lectures at the library, renting out a room at the Ruby Tuesdays, all of these things that, we were just told to do. And, back then I didn't know much about marketing. And then all of a sudden I got this, saw this ad that Ben and Dan had put in one of the trade journals, and just the style of the writing was totally different. They were saying stuff that, nobody else was saying. And then I got the material, and it was all about using these blind, what they called advertorial style ads in the newspaper, that mimicked real news stories, right?
An article.
Thinking, being that nobody really reads the newspaper for ads and coupons, but for articles. So it just immediately clicked, like this whole new world was turned on, where all of a sudden it all made sense that I had not been getting the results I wanted because I just wasn't doing the right marketing, right? And then, unfortunately, though, good and bad, for about, I was an early adopter down in Atlanta where I was practicing, started using the ads right away and was getting tremendous results. People were calling me, calling the office to set appointments with me instead of me, hunting them down and looking desperate and all of that. And so it just changed everything. But just as quickly, because there were no, area exclusivity, all of a sudden there was a dozen other chiropractors doing it, and newspapers is kind of a dying medium. And I just realized, I enjoyed watching a lot of TV. A lot of people I knew liked watching a lot of TV. And I said, if we could convert these newspaper ads into, a commercial, I think that would be a good way to now sustain this. Of course, not an overnight success. I had to keep going back and forth over a couple of years to get the, formula down right. I mean, the way the screen would look, I was using actors, actresses, and, I can show you some of what it evolved to, but, finally got the formula down. And then actually Ben got in touch with me and said, hey, because I had actually sent him a couple of the commercials to say, probably over a couple of years, I had kind of lost touch with him, was just kind of, testing myself with different formats. Finally sent something to him to get a critique. And he said, whoa, he's like, wait a minute. He goes, you got this working. And he said, you know what, we gotta, get this to my members who are now, we're struggling with the newspaper because, each year you got less and less readership. And that's where it all started. Did it with him for a couple of years. As things happened, he went on, did something different. And I just, kind of kept with it. And then, of course, then with the advent of, email, we now, follow up. So the TV commercials do one thing only. They generate the leads. But the conversion of the leads to new patient appointments comes with the email follow-up that we send out for the client. That's really where the, magic happens, where we get the conversion of an interested prospect. Because again, most professionals, as you know, whether it's a chiropractor, dentist, who I do, the most work with now, but, real estate agent, attorneys, they don't understand, hey, if that lead doesn't convert in the first couple of weeks, that doesn't mean they're not interested. It just means the timing's, not right. So we do the whole, email follow-up to nurture that lead and, convert them to make it a full, done for them, service. Because I'm not trying to teach them, how to run the commercials and all that. We do it all, for them. And so, that's kind of what I've been doing for the last, 19 years. And now things are getting busier than ever because getting into, other niches now with the attorneys, with, some of the, financial advisors, because, like during the pandemic, a lot of the financial advisors like to do the seminars.
Right. They had to switch to doing online webinars.
Exactly. So we can use the commercials and, a lot of them also need help, with putting together the webinars, right? They don't really understand the structure of that as well. So, number of things going on, busier than ever these days. So, exciting.
Well, congratulations on all of your success. I'm sure the longer version of that story is probably in a book somewhere. If it isn't, it should be. So let's talk a little bit about what are the verticals that you're serving now?
Primarily still dentists and chiropractors, because obviously being a chiropractor myself, started there because of, the contact with Ben. But like I said, these days been working with, financial planners, home remodeling, trying to get more traction, really in just all comers. That's the thing, is niches that I didn't really didn't realize, the attorneys are always running commercials that are your typical image ads, right? We'll get you the largest settlement allowed by law. The insurance companies are afraid of us, and they're all saying the same thing, but they, again, Gary Halbert, they are putting their ads in front of a starving market. They are at least putting their ads in what I call that trash TV lineup, where they know this is, the crowd that is most likely to use their services, for good or bad, but the commercials, they'd be the first to admit, terrible. My commercials, which I didn't elaborate on, are the total opposite. They are not image ads. It's not the chiropractor or the dentist on camera, with a starch white jacket, trying to look, all professional. And of course, and I've been a chiropractor for 27 years. That's why almost no chiropractors previously got any traction with TV. Because if you say and start talking about, how chiropractic can, change their lives, and it's the, answer they've been looking for, 95, and I'm a chiropractor, 95% of the public turns off and says, I know what that's about. And of course, what gets into most of the news is something negative, right? Somebody got hurt, somebody got an adjustment, and, so on and so forth. So what I learned from Dan and Ben, which unfortunately we still have to use today as chiropractors, is the best way to bring somebody through our marketing funnel and educate them and nurture them and not scare them off is to do ads that are more what I call more like public service announcements. So for years, I've run ads for my chiropractors to bring in auto accident patients that would be, if you've been injured in an accident, even a minor fender bender, before contacting anything, find out the 7 biggest mistakes all auto accident victims make and how you can avoid them. Find out what some attorneys, many doctors, and even your own insurance company don't want you to know, right? Dan Kennedy 101.
Yes, absolutely. Pure blind lead generation.
Right. And what I didn't realize until I was referred to an attorney was this can work very well for an attorney as long as they get the concept of don't need to promote yourself first. And, the biggest mistake I think people make with most of their advertising, but especially TV, and I use a 30-second format, you can't sell chiropractic or yourself in a 30-second spot.
Right.
My spots do one thing. We want people that are curious to call a toll-free 24-hour, it's old school and it still works, toll-free 24-hour recorded message and listen. That's it. That's the only job of the commercial. Then the recording they listen to, which I record for everybody, that tells them a little bit more if they'd like to get some more information. And then, of course, once we got their email address, now we can nurture that, lead. So nothing fancy, but definitely the opposite of what everybody does with their, TV commercials. They try to do too much with just, a 30 or 60-second format.
Absolutely.
And that's the job of all the follow-ups, with the emails to nurture and then convert.
So you took a format that was working, advertorials, in one form of media, print newspapers. You converted it into a television commercial for a different form, in a different media, using the similar concept. Obviously, you're not doing a 2-page advertorial in 30 seconds.
No.
Or even a half-page advertorial in 30 seconds. It's blind lead generation ad, usually condition-specific, problem-specific. You're doing the follow-up to convert them into an appointment so that the professional chiropractor, dentist, attorney, whoever can work their magic and hopefully convert them to a patient or a client. Now, how has that changed with the advent of more people, let's say, cutting the cord for traditional cable TV? How has that changed with the COVID pandemic? How have you had to pivot?
The funny thing is, it's kind of the yin and yang, because more people during the pandemic were home watching TV.
Yes.
Just because they were home. And so even though you're right, people's habits have changed. I found a lot more people are kind of binge watching TV. But in most cases, and again, depends on the age group. But like I always tell people, especially, if it's a dentist or chiropractor, you're not usually going after the people in the 20s that, they don't necessarily have the best insurance. They don't necessarily have, a huge savings account. It's really the older people, thank God, like myself, that in their early 50s to early 60s, they're in their prime with, earning potential. They got good insurance. They've got some money saved. And so fortunately, most of their TV watching habits have been unaffected. They're not using the Roku and, the Amazon Prime. They're switching. But even so, like if you record, like I do, if I record one of my shows, if I watch it on demand and it's a network TV, you still have to watch commercials. So you can't get around. What people forget is your favorite TV show exists because they can sell advertising space. It's not on because it's a great show and you enjoy it. It's only on for one reason, to sell advertising space. So you're never going to get away, from that format. But you brought up something that, again, one of the biggest mistakes for, anybody listening is we never run ads that try, the famous saying, if you're marketing to everyone, you're marketing to no one. and I forgot to mention that, but you said something and I jotted it down quick. Everything we do is only marketing one condition at a time. It's not the 7 danger signs of a pinched nerve, or if you're suffering from chronic pain, it's always just, low back pain, neuropathy, diabetes, weight loss is a big category for chiropractors. So it's only one condition at a time, because if you try to get, which sounds like a great idea, attract multiple people to your commercial, you start talking about a condition that's different from the person that, has low back pain. Now you start talking about neuropathy. That person with low back pain just turned off. They're no longer interested. So very important point that I don't know if you're aware when you made, but it's one condition at a time. Just like an attorney, they might treat, divorce, and, many other things, but when they do a commercial that it's about, mesothelioma, it's just about mesothelioma. And those are the ones that you see that are successful.
Right. As we both learned from Dan, a confused mind does not buy. And
Right.
You can't specialize in everything. So the law firm that says we do personal injury and estates and wills and real estate and business, you can't have an eye chart for a business card, because then it totally makes it look like, oh, this guy's a jack of all trades, but not really a specialist.
Exactly.
And while a chiropractor might be able to treat low back pain and a pinched nerve and neck pain and plantar fasciitis,
Right.
you wouldn't run them all in one ad. You're absolutely right.
No, just like, somebody who's a financial advisor might specialize in a certain income bracket, or with a certain, they deal with federal employees or union people. And, you can't advertise all of those things in one ad, because like you just said, it dilutes, so like I said, it's just been an interesting time. I'm a big member now with the, Perry Marshall's group. And I mean, people have come out of the woodwork when just a couple months ago, I dipped my toe in the forum there for the first time, because, people are struggling. I'm not a tech guy at all, as you know, not at all, which is one of the reasons why I've used Perry Marshall as a, private consultant for a while, because I wanted to know, that side of things, which I still really not a tech guy, but at least now I'm always hearing about all the struggles, with the Google and the Facebook and, all these things. And, when I dipped my toe in the forum for the first time, I mean, people came out of the woodworks, because they are having such problems, right now, with, those ads getting, canceled, or, going through multiple reviews and just not getting approved. And again, I'm sure there are people out there that can deal with that and circumvent it. But for a lot of the average, subscribers that I'm running into anyway, they just don't have the bandwidth to deal with it. And as much as TV is changing to come back full circle, it's really staying the same. A lot of people would be really surprised to know the rates have not changed that much for years. Most people think of TV like, I talk to chiropractors and dentists all the time, and they're a perfect example. They think, God, I thought TV would cost tens of thousands of dollars. Or they'll say, I talked to somebody at the TV station years ago, and they're 100% right. If you listen to the people at the TV station, they will tell you, listen, the very first thing we're going to do is kind of a dip your toe in the water campaign, which for them means, 3 months of doing an image type ad to brand you and build up your name recognition. And that is going to cost tens of thousands of dollars. What we do is the exact opposite. We're doing direct response. So we can literally spend in 90% of the markets, $75, $80 to run a campaign and find out, hey, does this have legs or not? And, I forget because I'm around it so much, and now I'm dealing with new verticals, that so many people have had that idea. Yeah, TV, that makes sense. But anytime they've tried to check it out and go that next step, they're like, oh, I can't spend, 10, 20, 30,000, I'm not talking about just New York City, Nashville, Tennessee, South Carolina, moderate markets. That's what normally takes to do the image type, branding type of campaign. And so, most people just don't realize how affordable it can be when it's done right, like anything, right? Everything's expensive when it's not done right. But being an old school Dan Kennedy guy like yourself, I never do any advertising that I can't track and measure.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing with the direct response ads. We know, how many people called. We know when they call, so we know what show is working, and it can be very, efficient. Like anything, got to do some testing. But once you've done that, it's like the attorneys. I always tell people, it's no magic. You get 2-3 shows or time slots that work well. You just run the heck out of it. Just like, you see the attorneys or anybody else, when they know the shows and the time slots that are working, they just, market the heck out of it. And, don't have to, spend the budget of attorneys that are spending tens of thousands of dollars a day because they're running them, constantly. But, most people would be surprised to know that they could do TV affordably. But the people at the TV stations who work on commission, they're always steering them towards, the prime time or, the more expensive shows. Whereas very first thing I'll do with people is we can use overnight time slots or the 4:30 a.m. news or the 11 a.m. news or 4 p.m. news. We don't have to use, the prime time 11 o'clock news or 6 p.m. news, and you get tremendous discounts. So, it's a little learning curve, but we don't tax people with learning that. We tell them where, when, how often to do it. So
for our folks who are watching or listening who want to learn more, where is the best place for them to go to learn more about you?
Either my LinkedIn profile or, an email is always fine. But, Dr. Rob McDermott on my LinkedIn profile, they can read a little bit more and, read some blog posts and definitely contact me through there. But if they want to just email me to get some more info, it's kind of a lengthy, email address. So bear with me. My partner put it together. It's drrob@conditionspecificmarketing.com. So Dr. Rob at conditionspecificmarketing.com.
All right. Well, we know your time's incredibly valuable. We greatly appreciate you spending some of it with us. This has been Seth Greene with Dr. Rob McDermott of conditionspecificmarketing.com. Doc, thanks so much for joining us.
Seth, great catching up with you.
Thanks everybody for watching or listening, and we will talk to you or see you next time.
Do you need money to fund your idea, product, or service? Are you ready to take your business to the next level, but need capital to get it done? Kevin Harrington has heard more than 50,000 pitches and knows how to help you make the perfect pitch to get the funding for your entrepreneurial dream. He's distilled the process down in his perfect pitch cheat sheet, and it's yours for free. Just text PITCH to him right now at 727-888-2100. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free perfect pitch cheat sheet. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 to start funding your dream today.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.